Justin Duckham joins us. He's a senior Washington correspondent for Talk Radio News Service to talk about our normal segment, Bias Bash. And I have to say, Justin, watching Twitter this morning, there were a lot of people who had some interesting comments in regards to the president's speech, and even some criticizing media reports and media coverage of it, taking, in some respects, complaining that they were taking everything the president said word for word and not really questioning what he said, especially when he opened up the speech by saying that we're safer now than we were 5 years ago.
That's a very good point, and that's very, odd considering we've just been hearing from the administration that the entire national security effort really hinges on invading Syria. So, yeah, it really highlights the fact that the media has given a free pass to what has essentially been a very muddled foreign policy. This is the president who campaigned on the idea that he did not support dumb wars, but then was just recently trying to march the nation into the dumbest of all wars, which would be Syria. This is somebody who really campaigned on saying he was going to sort of take out a charm offensive in the Arab world, and then has widely embraced drone use, and it just does not make sense. And if there is an Obama doctrine, it really is just something that's ad hoc and absolutely confusing, especially for our international partners.
Yeah, listening to the speech and really looking at it from the outside in, not taking an opinion here, not saying, hey, the president's bad or good or politically where you ever sit, wherever you happen to sit in the political aisle, but just looking at the words, there was a number of things that came to mind. First of all, by saying that we're safer now than we were 5 years ago. Very controversial to say that, and probably not true when you really look at the facts. Second thing, talk about how the reason why the U.S. is in the situation it is in internationally, he blames, was prior to the last 5 years. At one point, I forgot the exact words he used, but basically saying, we've changed things. We haven't done anything to make us, to be not liked. And that's, I'm putting those in layman's terms. Those weren't the words he used. That was a second comment that really surprised me. And the third one was to basically say that we're willing to use force. That was something that the Bush administration would have said, and if he had said that, what the media would have done. They would have erupted in uproar, and you haven't heard that, at least I haven't heard that, in the hour and a half or so since the president finished speaking.
That's certainly true, and it really highlights the fact that there are so many aspects of the president's foreign policy that are not really being paid attention to. The fact that he could say with a straight face that we are safer now, considering the situation that's going on in Yemen, considering what we're seeing coming out of Ethiopia and whatnot, is just, it's frankly a little bit laughable, and it really doesn't do us much of a service, especially since the U.S. is likely going to be looking for future support in this region. It's not too hard to see a foreign policy conflict down the road, dealing with what we see as a growing threat. And it, really just shines a light on the media, and it shows how much they have really been willing to ignore for such a long time now.
Justin Duckham, senior Washington correspondent, Talk Radio News Service. If you want to weigh in more, hear more about what people's thoughts are about the way the president's been treated with his speech today at the UN and whether the media has been fair or not, tune into our new show on Sundays, 11 a.m. on Fox News Channel, Media Buzz, hosted by Howard Kurtz. If you haven't seen the show, it's a great look at the news, a very fair look and assessment of the way things are being covered. And you got to believe that this week, Howard's show's only been on for a few weeks now at Fox News Channel. You got to believe this week is going to be a great time to watch with so much going on